Prevailing crypto winter wipes over 70,000 Bitcoin millionaires during 2022. Gemini users launch class arbitration against Genesis digital currency group. Bitcoin developer says 200 Bitcoin stolen just before proof of keys day. And Solana price gains as a dog coin Bonk fires up community interest. And is now the time to buy Metaverse tokens? Mana and Sand do generate bullish signals, but are they the ones that you should be buying? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Assets of Value podcast. Today, on January the 3rd, and every day, we connect to share our insights and perspectives on crypto, Web3, and NFT topics. We are the founders of Assets of Value, a Web3 research organization. Our podcast is not to be taken as legal or financial advice. Abe, great to be back. Our first official podcast of this year. Let's jump straight into it. What are the markets and price action looking like today?
Hey Shwab, I think I'm in a deja vu situation because whenever I look at Bitcoin charts, it always says 16.5k, 16.7k, and perhaps on a good day 16.8k. The market is settling. That's a pretty good news because now you see constant gains in altcoins, some specific altcoins. We will discuss it later. And the Bitcoin dominance is only going up because I think in a bear market it's the only way. And there's a general question looming around: will it be the bottom this year? And we have some pretty solid on-chain data to back it up. Let's go.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's start with the big daddy of them all, Bitcoin. So in 2022, it was an atrocious year, one catastrophe after another catastrophe. It wiped off so many Bitcoin paper millionaires because it's all unrealized profit unless you cash it in. But according to one of the publications, Finbold, 70,000 Bitcoin millionaires have lost that millionaire status. This was due to the downfall in price and the beginning of the bear market, which is now looking to turn into an extended crypto winter. What can we expect for 2023? What is the on-chain data telling us? And when do you think that we'll be coming back into more positive news around Bitcoin and Bitcoin price action?
The on-chain data suggests only one thing: Bitcoin is yet to be undervalued. The current valuation, although it might seem righteous, the current valuation doesn't sit well with the UTXO bands and the indicators like Puel multiple, MV, RV, and UPL, SOPR. All these indicators are suggesting that there's more pain to come in 2023, preferably in the first quarter. And according to these indicators, usually the bull run begins at least 2 quarters after the max pain region. In that sense, we can think or we can assume that the bull run will or shall begin in the later stages of Q4.
Long way to go. We are just 3 days into this new year. An action for us to take a screenshot and publish that on our Twitter account to make sure our viewers and listeners do have a visual of the indicators that we are discussing and to give them an indication of what we are seeing. So just to kind of quickly paraphrase, 16.5k Bitcoin, although it's deja vu, although there's not much movement in terms of up and down price action, we still don't think that the bottom is in, and we don't think it's in by a long shot at the moment. Okay, so we will continue to update our listeners, viewers, on our latest thoughts around this throughout the days, weeks, months to come throughout the year. So do make sure that you are checking in and capturing the change of trend when it does occur. Right, now let's move on to Gemini. This seems to have kind of fizzled out of the news at the moment. There was a lot of anxiety to understand if Gemini and Digital Currency Group were going to file for bankruptcy or if they were going to survive on their liquidity issues. The claimants allege that Genesis breached its agreement with Gemini Earn users and engaged in unregistered sale of securities. How do you see this playing out? It still seems to be dragging on, and now we've got parent companies and side companies involved, and there's still no remorse or no solace for the users. And I can't see, apart from a bailout, I can't see this ending gracefully.
Yeah, you are right. But the biggest question is, why did Gemini opted for Genesis lending? Offering their customers of higher APYs that's generated through Genesis lending was suicidal at its best. The problem was not Gemini's to be considered with, but I think this is a pretty good initiative because Gemini CEO has come up with an open letter to Genesis founder suggesting that a quick settlement should occur or shall occur in a week before 8th of January. Although I don't see it happening, this is a good initiative. And the open letter was quite emotional. He addressed who were the affected users, and this includes normal crypto investors who put their life's gain into stablecoins and kept it on exchanges. I hope Genesis do something about it, return the funds or find some extra liquidity to reimburse the users, but I don't see it happening in reality. Genesis has too many problems to deal with, and probably this is one of the biggest meltdowns we are yet to see. Many big names in crypto might fail in the next quarter.
So this entanglement between Gemini and Genesis and digital currency group still continues. We do think that the story is not over, even though SBF and FTX have dominated the headlines on run up to Christmas and the New Year's. This is one capitulation waiting to happen, or at least a ripple effect that will affect many other companies, subsidiaries, and associates, as well as another capitulation event of miners. They've been really hanging on to their dear life in terms of a profitable business when it comes to mining Bitcoin. With energy prices continue to push, many do think that miners are on the edge for capitulation. So it could be a bumpy start. You already mentioned that the on-chain data suggests that the bottom is not in H2 or the second half of 2023 is potentially when we could see a change of direction in terms of where price could be going. We're still good 6 months away from that, and a lot could happen between now and then. So jumping off from the miners to the actual Bitcoin itself, a developer's come out and saying that he's actually lost 200 Bitcoin from a attack or some sort of event where 200 of his Bitcoins were stolen just before proof of keys day. Firstly, what is proof of keys day? And secondly, how can Bitcoin be stolen if they're in your own custody?
That's a fantastic question, Sharp. Proof of keys is something about decentralization. It is just that if you hold your keys, then you have the proof that you have the keys. And simply, Bitcoin maximalists and general crypto optimists believe that proof of keys should be the only way going forward. And to spread the same awareness, they celebrate Proof of Key Day every year, and it has been going on for the last 3 years now. But this developer had a different problem. When he started developing on Bitcoin and mining Bitcoin, keys or seed phrases didn't exist. It was all PGP transactions stored in your computer or any device. And even if you export this data to a hardware wallet, your keys still remain on internet because when Bitcoin was invented, there were no hardware wallets. There were no keys, there were no seed phrases. It was all about some hex data, PGP, and everything. And yesterday, the developer claims that he lost 200 Bitcoin due to some kind of attack. And he is suggesting that this could be the result of a flaw in Bitcoin's old system. And he is urging other developers to not update the latest system because he thinks or he believes that the latest upgrade might make your keys redundant and make your Bitcoin vanish. Touching upon the most important thing, how to store your crypto safe. It's so simple. Just get a hardware wallet, just send your crypto there. Do not keep your keys, for example, the 24 golden words, on anywhere where the internet can touch. Do not give it to your girlfriend, do not give it to anyone. Just keep it safe, write it down, tear it into some pieces, hide it, or do something to ensure that nobody gets it. That's the only way you can keep your crypto safe.
Always sound advice there. I'm trying to understand what was the actual network upgrade? Is this something that's been lurking in the background or the fact that Bitcoin is moving over to Lightning Network, etc.? But let's unpack that in terms of Bitcoin and its development. in a future episode. We don't often dig too much in Bitcoin. It seems to be the daddy coin that is robust, and we only kind of speak of it in terms of price action, digital gold, or when somebody has a hack or is used as some sort of leverage. Let's move on to something a little bit more characterful of a degen coin. Solana Price Gains as dog coin Bonk fires up a community interest. So this was where Bonk was airdropped to several Solana NFT projects, and since that airdrop, it has steadily gained interest among a lot of its holders. Do you know much about Bonk coin?
Yeah, all of this started when Vitalik tweeted that Solana developers might be doing something to ensure the sustainability of the chain. And from that point, Solana has been rising. To trigger that interest further, or to further the interest of Solana developers and Solana community, there was massive airdrops of Bonk coin, and you could say it's a meme coin, or you could say it's a community coin. The coin has been rising and giving 100% gains every day. So I see it as a reassurance of the space because crypto people, crypto founders, or the crypto community can print money out of thin air. And that's what they are doing right now. They are just printing money from thin air and trying to compensate or trying to reward Solana believers. I think it's a really good attempt.
Yeah, in the last 24 hours alone, it's risen 105% at the time of recording. It's 0.000000113. So it's got one, two, three, four, five zeros after the decimal point. Interesting, the market cap is 63 million already, and the 24-hour volume is 16 or just over 16 million at the moment. So yeah, an excellent way to fire up a community, gain some extra attention, and provide liquidity. What we've seen on the back of that is Solana projects actually raise in terms of their floor price, and the NFT ecosystem across Solana has gained an air of freshness all of a sudden. And this comes in light when the Gods, the biggest NFT collection, has announced that it will move over to Ethereum, and its sister collection, Utes, will move over to Polygon. I don't think that community actually received the airdrops because they're leaving the chain, but it does go to show how you could unify fragmented communities just with a simple token gesture as this Bonk coin. Really interesting to see, fascinating in terms of how to galvanize communities and bring them together.
And the funny thing is that Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, had been a solid proponent of Bitcoin and its technology, tweeted that he'll be buying or investing in Bitcoin because he considers Bitcoin as similar to gold or similar to silver or land because it's not a security, it's an asset. And at the end of the tweet, instead of typing BTC, he just typed BC. In short, he misspelled BTC into BC. And new coins named BC has been rising and they were giving 50 to 60% gains to early investors. The space is still hot, there's still demand and there's still hunger from people. People are still very much active in crypto, especially the communities.
I did see that tweet from Vitalik where he did mention that now that the crap has been washed away within Solana, there is a lot of good developers within that ecosystem. And I think, as you mentioned, that did lead to the price pump. I missed, however, Robert Kawasaki's tweet regarding to that misspelt Bitcoin just as BC. However, it does show the nature of crypto investors and what they need to fuel a certain price pump or just get behind a token or a cryptocurrency. Now, on to our last discussion point regarding what tokens we should be buying. At the top of the show and in our intro, we mentioned the Metaverse tokens Mana and Sand. With Metaverse still a long-term play, should any investors, traders be looking at opportunities within Metaverse tokens, or are there different bargains to be had?
First of all, Sandbox is the OG metaverse play in crypto. And whenever the metaverse narrative return, and eventually it will return, when it happens, Sand will be pumping because it's the OG token. And when Sand leads the way, all of the metaverse tokens will be pumping together. And the important point here is that sand is down almost 93% from its all time highs. That means you could say sand is fairly valued right now. I'm not saying that it cannot dip further. I'm just remarking that if you loved Sandbox, if you loved playing Sandbox in 2021 and was buying the token because you believe that it's a good business, just quote unquote good sustainable business, then buying Sandbox at this price wouldn't be a problem for you. However, you should realize that there are several metaverse plays coming, including BAYC metaverse play, including Facebook's Meta and creating a universal hub for all metaverses, and Luxo, the engineered universal metaverse. Including all of this, there are a lot of metaverse plays coming around, and I would personally not invest in the metaverse right now because this is a long term play and you have a long term to accumulate all the tokens. For now, I'll be more focusing on Litecoin because there's a halving event next quarter, and Litecoin will have a lot of traction and attention and news value. More than that, we know that Bitcoin miners are not in profit right now, so they might be even willing to shift to Litecoin for the time being to capture in all the news value. So Litecoin might be a better play than Bitcoin in this quarter.
Litecoin, the OG altcoin that everyone loves to hate. So that's currently trading at $75 with a all-time high of around just kissing $400. That halving event, it is something that continues to prove itself time and time again as a catalyst in terms of going forward. So that's a really interesting point that you brought up. I'd have to agree in terms of metaverse plays, they are the long haul plays when collecting a coin. Currently, Mana is at 31 cents and Sandbox is 40 cents, down from its high of just under $8 and Decentraland just over $5. So yeah, they're quite a bit down from where they were. Litecoin, you surprised me. You surprised me, but definitely one to watch out for. We will check in on Litecoin as we see further price action. A brilliant episode. Great one to kick us off for the new year. It's been super fun. I'm glad you were able to jam with us today. That's it. Until next time, thank you, everybody. I'm signing off.